Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let's dive into today's story. End of part 1. It's been 2 weeks since the blind date fiasco, and Emma couldn't shake the memory of Liam Parker from her mind. She hadn't expected to think about him again, let alone feel the odd mix of curiosity and regret that still lingered. She tried to brush it off. After all, it was a simple misunderstanding, right? Just a mistake. But it felt like more than that. She kept replaying their conversation in her head. His voice, his smile, the way he listened to her, as if she mattered. She had no idea why it had made such an impact. Maybe it was because he wasn't like the other men she had met. He wasn't trying to impress her with expensive words or over-the-top gestures. He was just different. Emma had almost forgotten about it all until one evening. As she was closing up her shift at the diner, her phone buzzed with a message. She glanced down, and her heart skipped a beat. It was from an unknown number. "Hi Emma, this is Liam. We met at the restaurant a couple of weeks ago. I know this may sound strange, but I've been thinking about our conversation. I was wondering if you would meet me for coffee sometime." Her fingers hovered over the screen, unsure of how to respond. She hadn't expected to hear from him, let alone for him to reach out. The message felt so casual, so unlike the formal, businesslike persona she had assumed he had. After a moment of hesitation, she typed back, "Hi Liam. Wow, I didn't expect to hear from you. Sure, I'd love to meet for coffee. When were you thinking?" She hit send before she could second-guess herself. Almost immediately, he replied, "How about tomorrow at noon? I'll be at the Java spot." Emma read the message, feeling a mix of excitement and nerves. She hadn't been on a date in ages, let alone with someone as polished and confident as Liam. But she told herself it was just coffee, a chance to clear the air, and maybe find out what he really wanted from her. The next day, Emma arrived at the coffee shop a little early. She took a deep breath, trying to calm her nerves as she ordered a cappuccino and found a seat by the window. The place was cozy, filled with the rich scent of freshly brewed coffee and the soft hum of conversation. She tried to focus on the menu, but her mind kept wandering back to Liam. Was this some sort of test? Was he still curious about her, or was this just another business meeting disguised as a coffee date? She had no idea. When Liam walked in, she spotted him immediately. He looked just as polished as before, his sharp suit and neat hair a stark contrast to her second-hand dress and slightly messy ponytail. He smiled when he saw her, and the usual confidence in his stride was softened by something more genuine. He walked over to her table and extended his hand. "Hey Emma, it's good to see you again," he said with a warm smile. "I'm glad you could make it." Emma stood and shook his hand, trying to hide her nervousness behind a smile. "It's nice to see you too," she replied. "I wasn't sure if you were really going to follow through with this. You know, after the whole blind date mishap." She laughed awkwardly, her cheeks flushing. Liam chuckled. "Yeah, that was a bit embarrassing, wasn't it? But honestly, I've been thinking about it a lot. About you, actually. You're nothing like the people I usually meet." He paused, as if searching for the right words. "I guess I wanted to make it right." He sat down across from her, looking a little more relaxed than the last time she saw him. Emma felt her heart skip a beat. "Make it right?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. Liam nodded. "Yeah, I've never met anyone who was so genuine. I was surprised, to be honest. And after our conversation, I couldn't help but wonder what would happen if we got to know each other better. I don't want to just leave it at that one awkward encounter." His words caught her off guard. She had assumed this would be a quick meeting to clear the air, but now it felt like something more. Emma didn't know what to say, so she just smiled, unsure of what to make of his sudden interest. She wasn't used to this kind of attention, especially from someone like Liam. "So, how have you been? Still working at the diner?" he asked, sipping his coffee. Emma nodded, trying to hide her discomfort. "Yeah, still there. Not glamorous, but it pays the bills." She paused, looking at him over the rim of her cup. "What about you? Still buried in tech stuff?" Liam leaned back in his chair, his eyes softening. "Actually, I've been trying to take a step back from all the business chaos. I've been doing a lot of thinking since we last talked." He hesitated before continuing. "You're different, Emma. You know that." He smiled, almost shyly. Emma wasn't sure how to respond, but she felt her nerves start to ease. She wasn't sure what this was all leading to, but for the first time, she didn't feel out of place. It was just two people, sitting and talking over coffee, trying to figure out what came next. As the conversation drifted from one topic to another, Emma couldn't help but feel a sense of familiarity with Liam. It was strange how quickly he had become someone she felt comfortable with. She realized then that maybe, just maybe, this blind date gone wrong might turn into something much more than she ever expected. But as the afternoon wore on, Emma couldn't ignore the feeling in the pit of her stomach. Was Liam really interested in getting to know her, or was this some kind of business experiment? Was she just another story in his busy, polished world? Only time would tell. The following week, Emma couldn't stop thinking about Liam. Their coffee date had left her with so many unanswered questions. She tried to tell herself it was nothing, that he was just being polite, but deep down, she couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this than she realized. She hadn't expected him to be so open, so willing to talk about his personal life. His words from the cafe kept echoing in her mind. "You're different, Emma. You know that." He had said it so casually, but it had stuck with her. She had always prided herself on being genuine, but coming from someone like Liam, it felt like something more. She had no idea why he was showing interest, but part of her couldn't help but be intrigued. It was late on a Friday afternoon when Emma got the text from him. "Hey Emma, I have an event tomorrow night, just a small gathering for some of my colleagues. I would love it if you could come. It's nothing too fancy, I promise." The message was brief, yet it stirred something in her. An event? She wasn't sure if she was ready for something like that, especially after everything that had happened. But she couldn't deny the curiosity building up inside her. Her thumb hovered over her phone screen, unsure if she should respond. She didn't want to seem too eager, but the thought of seeing him again made her heart race. "It's just an event," she reminded herself. "No big deal." She took a deep breath and typed back, "Sure, I'd love to come." "What time?" Less than a minute later, the reply came. "It starts at 7 p.m. The venue is the Riverside Hotel. I'll see you there." Emma stared at the message for a few seconds before putting her phone down. A part of her was excited, another part anxious. She didn't belong at these kinds of events. She wasn't someone who was used to luxury, and the idea of stepping into a world of billionaires and CEOs made her feel out of place. But maybe, just maybe, this was an opportunity she couldn't pass up. Saturday evening arrived faster than she had anticipated. Emma stood in front of her closet, staring at the few outfits she had. She picked a simple black dress that she had worn to a few casual events before and paired it with a pair of heels that she had been saving for a special occasion. It wasn't much, but it would have to do. She wasn't going to impress anyone with her wardrobe, but she could at least look presentable. She arrived at the Riverside Hotel at exactly 6:50 p.m. The grand entrance was as intimidating as the people milling around inside. She could see the elegant chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, the polished marble floors reflecting the light from the walls. The air smelled of expensive perfume, and the soft chatter of well-dressed guests filled the room. Emma hesitated for a moment at the entrance, feeling a wave of self-doubt hit her. But then, she spotted Liam standing across the room, talking to a group of people. When he saw her, his expression softened. He excused himself from the group and made his way toward her. "Hey, Emma," he said, his smile genuine as he looked her up and down. "You look amazing." Emma couldn't help but blush. "Thanks. You too," she said, feeling a little awkward. She wasn't used to compliments, especially not from someone like Liam. He looked incredibly well put together in his tailored suit, his presence commanding attention without him even trying. "I'm glad you could make it," Liam said, his voice low enough for only her to hear. "I know this place can be a bit intimidating, but don't worry, I'll be right here with you." His reassurance helped calm her nerves a little. As the evening went on, Emma found herself surprisingly comfortable. Liam stayed by her side, introducing her to his colleagues, and for once, she felt like she belonged. The people around her weren't nearly as intimidating as she had imagined. Sure, they were rich, successful, and polished, but they didn't seem to mind that she wasn't. There was something about Liam's presence that made her feel like she didn't need to pretend. She could just be herself. At some point, they found a quiet corner of the room, away from the noise of the crowd. "So, tell me more about your art," Liam said, genuinely interested. Emma found herself talking about her dream of opening her own art studio. something she hadn't shared with many people. She had always kept it to herself, unsure if it was something worth pursuing. As she spoke, Liam listened intently, his eyes focused on her with a level of attention she wasn't used to. "You should definitely go for it," he said after a long pause. "You've got the passion, and that's the hardest part. You'll get there. I know you will." His words made her heart swell with a mixture of hope and disbelief. Here she was, standing in the middle of a high-end event with a billionaire who actually believed in her. She had never thought this would be her reality. For the first time in a long time, she felt like her dreams were possible. Maybe this blind date, this mistake, had led her somewhere she never expected to go. As the night drew to a close, Liam walked Emma to the door. "Thanks for coming, Emma," he said, his voice soft. "I'm really glad you did." She smiled, feeling the warmth of his words. "Me too," she replied. "Thanks for inviting me." She gave him a small wave as she left the venue, her mind racing with all the possibilities ahead. For the first time in a while, Emma felt like she was on the verge of something new, something big. What started as a mistake, a mix-up at a blind date, had now turned into a connection she never saw coming. And as she walked out into the crisp night air, she couldn't help but wonder what the future held for her and Liam. It had been a week since Emma's unexpected night at the Riverside Hotel, and as much as she tried to get back to her routine, she couldn't stop thinking about Liam. Their conversation lingered in her mind, his words of encouragement about her art, the way he made her feel like she belonged. She had never felt that way in a room full of strangers, especially not with someone like Liam. But it wasn't just the lavish event or his wealth that stuck with her. It was the way he made her feel seen. For the first time in a long time, she wasn't just a waitress trying to get by. She was someone who mattered. Over the next few days, Emma found herself checking her phone more often than she cared to admit. She couldn't help it. Every time she saw a message from Liam, a little spark of excitement would light up inside her. He'd been texting her regularly, asking how she was doing, how her art was coming along. It was casual, friendly, but there was an undertone of something more, something Emma couldn't quite put her finger on. She found herself looking forward to their messages, even if it was just a quick check-in. Something had shifted between them, and it was hard to ignore. One afternoon, as she was finishing up her shift at the diner, Emma's phone buzzed again. She glanced down at the screen and saw it was Liam. "Hey Emma, I've been thinking about you. I know you've got your art, but would you ever consider doing something for me? There's an event coming up, and I'd love for you to help me out with something. It's totally up to you, no pressure. Just thought I'd ask." The message left her a little stunned. What could he want with her help? She wasn't an event planner or a professional artist who took commissions. Still, her curiosity got the better of her. She typed a quick reply. "Hey Liam, sure. I'm not sure what you mean exactly, but I'm open to hearing more." Minutes later, he responded, "It's a charity event I'm hosting next week. I was hoping you could create a piece of art for the silent auction. I think it would be a great way for people to see your talent. You don't have to overthink it. Just something that reflects you." Emma was speechless for a moment. He wanted her to create something for his charity event? She was honored, but also nervous. She had always dreamed of having her work displayed, but this was different. This wasn't just about art. It was about her stepping into a world she wasn't sure she belonged in. But then again, maybe this was the break she needed. Maybe this was her chance to show what she was really capable of. "I'd be honored, Liam," she typed back, trying to steady her racing heart. "I'll get to work on something. Thanks for thinking of me." That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about the painting she would create for the auction. What could she possibly create that would be worthy of such an event? The pressure weighed on her, but deep down, she knew this was a huge opportunity. This wasn't just about art anymore. It was about proving to herself that she could do something more than just survive. The next few days were a blur. Emma spent every spare moment working on her painting, pouring every ounce of her energy into it. She decided to paint a piece that represented her journey, her struggles, her dreams, and the hope that one day she would be able to make a living doing what she loved. She used bold colors and abstract shapes, each stroke a reflection of her emotions, her fears, and her desires. It wasn't perfect, but it was real, and that was what mattered. By the time the event arrived, Emma was nervous, but also proud of what she had created. She showed up at the venue, a large art gallery downtown, with the piece carefully wrapped in protective plastic. The place was already buzzing with people, the sound of clinking glasses and low conversations filling the air. Liam was there, of course, greeting guests and making sure everything was in order. When he saw Emma, his face lit up. "You made it," Liam said, walking over to her. "I'm really glad you came." Emma smiled, feeling a wave of gratitude wash over her. "Thanks for inviting me. This place is incredible." She glanced around, taking in the fancy decorations, the elegant guests, and the upscale atmosphere. It was a far cry from the diner she was used to. "I'm glad you like it. Let's get your piece set up," Liam said. "I'm excited to see it in person." Emma followed him to the back, where the art was being displayed for the silent auction. She carefully unwrapped her painting and placed it on the stand. When Liam saw it, his eyes softened. "It's beautiful, Emma," he said quietly. Emma felt a flush of pride at his words. "Thank you. I really hope people like it." Later that evening, as the event was winding down, Emma found herself standing by her painting, watching people admire her work. Some of them even took the time to comment on how unique and bold it was. Liam came over to her, his smile warm. "I told you, you have real talent," he said. "I knew this was going to be a hit." As the night drew to a close, Liam handed Emma a glass of champagne. "Thank you again for being a part of this. It means a lot to me, and I think it really showed people who you are." Emma took a sip of the champagne, feeling a mix of excitement and disbelief. For the first time, she felt like she was exactly where she was supposed to be. The following week, Emma's life seemed to be shifting in ways she hadn't expected. The charity event had been a huge success, and her painting had not only caught the attention of several potential buyers, but also sparked conversations that made her feel like she was finally being seen. Liam had introduced her to people who could help her further her art career, and for the first time in a long time, Emma felt like her dream of opening an art studio might actually be within reach. Yet, as she lay in bed that night, she couldn't help but wonder where this connection with Liam was heading. What was he really looking for in her? Was it just kindness, or was there something more? Over the next few days, their messages became more frequent. Liam was always kind, always supportive, but there was an undercurrent of something she wasn't sure about. He invited her to lunch the following week, and while the idea of seeing him again excited her, a part of her hesitated. Was this just friendship? Was it more? She didn't know if she was ready to find out. Emma walked into the cafe the next afternoon, scanning the room for Liam. She spotted him sitting at a table by the window, looking as composed as ever, his suit sharp and his expression relaxed. There was something about him that made her nervous, but she pushed the feeling down as she made her way to the table. "Hey, Liam," she said, sitting down across from him. "Thanks for meeting me." She offered a small smile. Liam looked up and returned the smile warmly. "Of course, Emma. I'm glad you could make it. How have you been? I've been thinking about your art a lot. You've got a real talent." He leaned back in his chair, his eyes focused on her with genuine interest. Emma felt a rush of warmth at his words, but she still couldn't shake the nagging feeling that there was something he wasn't saying. "I've been good. Busy, you know how it is. Trying to figure out where to go next with all of this. It's a lot to think about." Liam nodded thoughtfully. "I get that. It's never easy to make that leap, but you've already got what it takes. Just keep pushing yourself. Sometimes, the hardest part is believing in yourself." His words hit home. Emma's whole life, she had struggled with believing she was enough. She was always questioning her choices, always second-guessing herself. She wanted to ask him why he cared so much about her, but she didn't. She couldn't. Instead, she changed the subject. "So what about you? How are things going on your end? You seem like you have everything under control." She smiled softly, trying to keep the conversation light. Liam hesitated, his eyes flickering with something unreadable. "I guess I've got the business stuff covered. But there's more to it than that. You know, I've been dealing with a lot of pressure lately. It's not just about running the company. It's about keeping everything together. I think people expect me to have all the answers, but sometimes, I feel like I don't have a clue what I'm doing." Emma was taken aback. She had never really thought about the burden Liam carried. He was a billionaire. After all, he seemed untouchable, immune to the struggles that most people faced. But here he was, opening up to her about his own insecurities. "I never would have guessed," she said softly. "I guess we all have our struggles. I mean, I can't even seem to get my art career off the ground without a lot of help. It's like I'm stuck in this weird limbo, where I'm too scared to take a real leap, but I'm not really making progress either." Liam's expression softened as he looked at her. "I get that. I've been there too. The fear of failing is real. But you know what? Sometimes you have to take that leap anyway. It's the only way to see if you can really fly. His words resonated with Emma more than she expected. For the first time in a while, she felt like someone understood. Not just about her art, but about the deeper fears that had been holding her back in life. She had spent so much of her life hiding behind the idea that she was fine, that she didn't need anyone. But here Liam was, offering her the kind of support and understanding that she didn't even know she needed. The rest of their lunch passed in a comfortable silence, broken only by casual conversation and soft laughs. As they finished up, Liam paid for the meal, his usual confidence now replaced by something more human, something Emma wasn't used to seeing in someone so wealthy and powerful. "I'm really glad we did this," Liam said as they stood up to leave. "You're someone I can talk to, Emma. You make things feel simpler. I don't know if that makes sense, but I wanted you to know that." He smiled at her, his words carrying an honesty she hadn't expected. Emma's heart fluttered at his words. She had always admired his confidence, but now she saw a side of him that was raw and vulnerable. It made her realize how much they had in common, despite the difference in their worlds. She was scared, yes, but maybe, just maybe, she could take the leap too. "Thank you, Liam," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "You're right. Maybe it's time to start believing in myself." As they walked out of the cafe together, Emma felt a strange sense of calm settle over her. She wasn't sure what was going to happen next between them, but for the first time, she felt like she was ready to face whatever came her way. The following week, Emma found herself standing in front of her tiny apartment's mirror, taking one last look at her reflection before heading out the door. She had a job interview scheduled for a local art gallery, one she had been preparing for over the last few days. But today wasn't just about the interview. It was also the day she would meet Liam again, and she couldn't ignore the way her heart fluttered at the thought. It had been a few days since their lunch, and Emma felt like she had started to see Liam in a different light. He wasn't just a businessman. He was someone who truly listened to her, someone who made her feel seen in ways she had never experienced before. She wasn't sure where this connection was headed, but she knew one thing. It felt real. She glanced at her phone, checking the time. She needed to leave soon. The interview was in less than an hour, and she had promised Liam they would meet afterward for a casual drink. She wasn't sure if this was a date or just another one of their friendly catch-ups, but somehow, it didn't matter. Everything felt different now. For the first time in ages, Emma wasn't focused on surviving. She was focused on something bigger, something she was afraid to admit, even to herself. The interview went well, better than she had expected. The gallery director seemed impressed by her portfolio and even asked her about her future plans. It was everything she had hoped for, but as she walked out of the building, her mind kept drifting back to Liam. What would he think of her? What if he didn't like the painting she had been working on? He had seen her art at the charity event, but this was different. This was personal. After the interview, Emma took a deep breath and headed toward the bar where she had agreed to meet Liam. It was a small, quiet spot, far from the hustle and bustle of the city. She found a table near the back and sat down, trying to calm her nerves. She felt like she was about to take another leap, one that she wasn't sure she was ready for. Liam arrived a few minutes later, looking effortlessly stylish as always, his suit jacket hanging casually over his arm. "Hey Emma," Liam greeted, his voice warm as he pulled out the chair and sat down across from her. "How did the interview go?" Emma smiled, still feeling the excitement from the morning. "It went really well, actually. I think they like my portfolio. It's a step in the right direction." Liam nodded, his eyes lighting up with interest. "I knew you had it in you. I'm proud of you, Emma." His words made her heart skip a beat. She hadn't expected to hear him say that, but it felt genuine. She could tell that Liam wasn't just being polite. He truly meant it. As the conversation flowed easily between them, Emma began to feel more comfortable. The tension that had been there before seemed to melt away, replaced by an undeniable connection that she wasn't sure how to define. Liam wasn't the type of guy who typically took interest in people like her, someone with big dreams, but little to show for them. Yet, here they were, sharing a quiet evening together, and for some reason, that felt like more than enough. "I've been working on something for you," Liam said, his tone shifting slightly as he reached into his jacket pocket. He pulled out a small envelope and slid it across the table to her. "I thought you might want to see this." Emma's curiosity piqued. She opened the envelope. Inside was a business card, a high-end gallery's name printed in gold lettering. Her breath caught in her throat as she read the card. "Liam, what is this?" she asked, looking up at him in surprise. "It's an opportunity," he said, his voice soft but steady. "I know the owner of this gallery. They've been looking for new artists to feature, and I thought you might be perfect for it. I spoke to them about your work, and they're interested in seeing more." Emma felt her heart race. This was beyond anything she had imagined. The chance to have her art showcased in a gallery like this was a dream come true. She had never thought it would happen so soon, but now here it was, an opportunity she couldn't pass up. "Liam, I don't know what to say," she whispered, overwhelmed by the gesture. "This is incredible. Thank you." She paused, looking at him with a mix of gratitude and disbelief. "I don't deserve this." Liam leaned forward slightly, his gaze unwavering. "You do deserve it, Emma. You've worked hard, and you have the talent to back it up. All I did was help connect the dots. The rest is all you." Her emotions swirled as she looked at him. There was something about the way he spoke, the sincerity in his eyes, that made her feel like she could conquer anything. He believed in her, and that belief was contagious. For a moment, Emma didn't feel like the girl struggling to make ends meet. She felt like an artist with a future, one who could actually make her dreams come true. "Thank you," she said again, her voice thick with emotion. "I don't even know what to say. You've done more for me than anyone ever has." Liam smiled, his expression softening. "You don't have to say anything. Just go for it, Emma. You've got this." As the night wore on, Emma felt something shift between them. She wasn't sure what it was, but she couldn't deny the way Liam made her feel. He had given her the push she needed, but more than that, he had shown her that she was worthy of the opportunities that were beginning to open up. As they parted ways that night, Emma knew one thing for certain. She was no longer the person she had been just a few weeks ago. She was someone capable of more, and it was only the beginning. The following week, Emma found herself staring at the email invitation to the gallery opening that Liam had set up for her. The event was just around the corner, and while she felt a surge of excitement, a twinge of fear lingered in the back of her mind. This was it, the moment when her work would be put out there for everyone to see. It wasn't just about being at a fancy event or meeting new people anymore. It was about proving to herself that she could do this, that she wasn't just some small-town waitress with big dreams. She was an artist, and it was time the world saw it. Yet, even with the support of Liam and everything he had done for her, doubts still crept in. What if people didn't like her work? What if she wasn't good enough? The night of the gallery event arrived, and Emma felt the nerves intensify as she stood in front of her mirror, adjusting the simple black dress she had chosen. It wasn't flashy, but it made her feel confident. She ran a brush through her hair one last time and glanced at the small canvas painting she had created for the event. It had been months in the making, and now it was about to be displayed in a gallery, possibly even auctioned off. She took a deep breath, trying to push down the anxiety that threatened to overwhelm her. As she walked into the venue, her heart pounded in her chest. The Riverside Gallery was even more impressive than she had imagined. Walls lined with stunning artwork, elegant lighting casting soft shadows, and the hum of conversation filling the air. Liam was already there, standing by the entrance, looking effortlessly composed in his sharp suit. His eyes found hers as she entered, and he gave her a warm smile, his gaze softening when he saw the nerves on her face. "You made it," Liam said, his voice calm and reassuring. "You look incredible, Emma. I'm so proud of you." Emma smiled back, though she could feel her hands trembling slightly. "Thanks, Liam. This is a lot more than I expected." She couldn't hide the mix of awe and nervousness in her voice. "You're doing great," Liam said, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "Just be yourself. You've got this." As Emma made her way through the crowd, she felt a sense of warmth and support from Liam's words, but the nerves were still there. She had seen her painting set up by the other pieces, and the idea that her work was now surrounded by such beautiful art made her feel small in comparison. But then, something surprising happened. People started to approach her painting, admiring the bold use of color, the raw emotion it conveyed. They didn't see the doubts she had about it. They saw the passion she had poured into it. One woman stopped in front of her painting, studying it intently before turning to Emma. "This is beautiful," she said. "I love how much emotion you've captured in this piece. It's so different from anything else here." Emma's heart soared at the compliment. She hadn't expected anyone to notice, let alone appreciate what she had created. "Thank you," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "I'm glad you like it." Liam appeared beside her just as the woman moved on to another piece. He smiled at Emma, a quiet pride in his eyes. "See? People are connecting with your work. You're doing amazing." The night continued with more conversations, more compliments, and more people showing genuine interest in her art. Emma had started out feeling like an imposter, but as the evening progressed, she began to believe that maybe, just maybe, she belonged here. She wasn't just the waitress from a small town. She was an artist who had something valuable to offer. As the event began to wind down, Emma stood beside her painting, watching the crowd start to thin out. She felt a sense of accomplishment wash over her, the weight of her doubts lifting with each passing minute. She had done it. She had shown up, and she had shared a piece of herself with the world. "How do you feel?" Liam asked, appearing beside her once again. Emma turned to him, her smile genuine for the first time that evening. "I feel like I can finally breathe," she admitted. "Like I've finally taken that leap." Liam's smile widened, and for a brief moment, there was a quiet understanding between them. "I knew you could do it," he said softly, "and I'm glad I could be part of this moment with you." As the night ended and people began to leave, Liam walked her to the exit, his presence steady beside her. For the first time, Emma didn't feel like she was walking into the unknown alone. With Liam's support, she had taken a chance, and the world had responded in a way she hadn't expected. Her journey was just beginning, but for the first time, she felt like she was finally on the right path. The following days after the gallery event felt like a blur to Emma. She had been getting more attention for her art than she had ever dreamed of, with people reaching out to commission pieces and inquire about her work. The opportunity with the gallery had opened doors she hadn't even known existed. But amidst the excitement, there was still something weighing on her heart, something she couldn't quite shake. She found herself thinking about Liam constantly. Their connection had grown over the weeks, and though it started as a professional relationship, there was no denying that something deeper was unfolding between them. It had been a few days since the gallery event, and Emma was sitting at her small kitchen table, sipping her morning coffee, when she received a message from Liam. "Hey Emma, I wanted to check in and see how you're doing. I know it's been a busy week, but I was hoping we could talk. There's something I need to share with you." Her heart skipped a beat at the message. Talk? What did he want to talk about? Was this about their connection? Was he pulling away? Emma's mind raced with possibilities, each more uncertain than the last. She couldn't help but feel a rush of anxiety. She had grown so accustomed to Liam's support, his constant encouragement. But now, this message felt different. Was he about to say something that would change everything? Trying to steady her nerves, Emma quickly typed back, "Sure, Liam. When would be a good time?" Within moments, Liam responded, "How about later today? I was thinking we could grab dinner. I'll text you the details." Emma agreed, her mind still swirling with questions. What did he want to talk about? Was this about business? Or something else? The uncertainty gnawed at her, but she tried to shake it off. She had come too far to let fear stop her now. That evening, they met at a quiet Italian restaurant Liam had chosen. The warm lighting and cozy atmosphere of the place helped calm Emma's nerves, but there was still a tension in the air between them. Liam hadn't said much when they first sat down, and Emma was left wondering what he had to say. After a few moments of silence, Liam finally spoke. "Emma, I've been thinking a lot about you. About us." His words hung in the air, and Emma's heart thudded in her chest. "I know our connection started off professionally, but lately, I've realized that it's become something more than that." He paused, as if searching for the right words. "I care about you, Emma. A lot more than I expected." Emma's breath caught in her throat. Was this what she thought it was? Was Liam admitting he had feelings for her? She had always felt something between them, something unspoken that neither of them had addressed, but hearing him say it out loud made everything feel more real. Her mind raced, and for a moment, she couldn't find her voice. "Liam," she began slowly, "I didn't expect you to say that, but I feel the same way." Her voice was quiet but steady, the truth of her feelings finally spilling out. "I've been trying to figure out what this is, but I think I've known for a while. You've been so supportive of me, of my art, and I don't know what I would have done without you." Liam smiled softly, his eyes warm as they met hers. "I'm glad you feel that way. I didn't want to push anything or make things complicated, but I think we both know that there's something real here." He leaned forward slightly, his expression earnest. I don't want to hold back anymore, Emma. I care about you more than just as a friend or a business contact. Emma's heart swelled as the weight of his words sank in. The uncertainty that had clouded her thoughts for weeks began to fade, replaced by a sense of clarity. She had spent so long doubting herself, afraid of taking chances, but now, she was ready. She was ready to take this step with Liam, to explore whatever this was between them. As the evening continued, their conversation shifted to lighter topics, but the air between them had changed. There was an unspoken understanding now, a shared connection that neither of them needed to hide anymore. Liam had opened up, and so had she. By the time dinner came to an end, Emma felt a sense of peace she hadn't known in a long time. She wasn't sure where things would go with Liam, but for the first time, she didn't feel like she had to have all the answers. She was ready to take things one step at a time. As they walked out of the restaurant, Liam took her hand in his, and for the first time, Emma didn't feel like she was walking alone. She had spent so much of her life trying to prove herself, but with Liam by her side, she felt like she could finally stop pretending. Whatever came next, she knew she wasn't going to face it alone. Over the next few weeks, things between Emma and Liam began to evolve in ways neither of them had expected. The connection they had shared over the past months had transformed into something deeper, something neither of them could deny. They spent more time together, not just at gallery events or business meetings, but in quiet moments, sharing their hopes, fears, and dreams. For the first time in Emma's life, she felt like she wasn't just a bystander in her own story. She was living it. With Liam's support, she had found the courage to pursue her art more seriously, and doors had continued to open for her. She was finally living her dream, one step at a time. One evening, as they sat together at a small park near Emma's apartment, the conversation turned to the future. They had been talking about everything from their favorite books to the projects they wanted to pursue together, when Liam suddenly grew quiet. Emma noticed the shift in his demeanor and looked over at him, waiting for him to speak. Emma, there's something I've been meaning to ask you, Liam said, his voice gentle but serious. He reached for her hand, his touch warm. I've been thinking a lot about us lately, and I know it's still early, but I want to know if you'd be willing to take the next step with me. I care about you so much, and I can't imagine my life without you in it. He paused, searching her eyes for any sign of hesitation. Emma's heart skipped a beat. She had never been one for big, sweeping gestures, but something about Liam's words felt different, sincere, real, and grounded in the trust they had built together. She had never imagined herself in a relationship like this, one that felt so natural, so right. Her mind flashed back to when they first met, to the uncertainty she had felt about this entire journey. Now, looking at Liam, she realized how far she had come. I feel the same way, Emma said softly, her voice full of emotion. When we first met, I had no idea what to expect. But you've helped me believe in myself in ways I never thought possible. You've made me feel like I deserve this, like I deserve to be happy. She smiled, the words coming easily now. I want to take that next step with you, Liam. I really do. Liam's eyes lit up as she spoke, a genuine smile spreading across his face. He pulled her closer, brushing a lock of hair behind her ear. I'm so glad to hear that, he said quietly. I want to build something real with you, Emma. Not just for us, but for the future we can create together. As the night wore on, the world around them seemed to fade away. They sat in silence for a moment, both lost in the quiet of the park, a new chapter beginning to unfold before them. For Emma, it felt like everything was falling into place. She had always wondered if she would ever truly find her place in the world, if she would ever be able to chase her dreams without fear. But now, with Liam by her side, she knew that anything was possible. The next few months flew by in a blur of success and personal growth for Emma. Her art continued to flourish, and with Liam's continued support, she was able to open her very own studio, a place where she could finally create freely. Their relationship, too, grew stronger with each passing day. They supported each other through the ups and downs, always making time for each other, no matter how busy their lives became. Emma had learned that love wasn't just about grand gestures or perfect moments. It was about being there for each other, every day, in every way. As Emma stood in her new studio, surrounded by her artwork, she realized just how far she had come. The walls were filled with pieces that represented her journey, her struggles, her triumphs, and her unwavering belief that she could create something meaningful. And standing beside her, with a proud smile on his face, was Liam. "You did it," Liam said, his voice full of pride. "This is just the beginning, Emma." Emma smiled, feeling the weight of those words sink in. "I know," she said softly, her hand resting on his. "And I'm so glad you're here with me, to share it all." As they stood there, together, Emma realized that this was the life she had always dreamed of, not because everything was perfect, but because it was real. And with Liam by her side, she knew they could face whatever the future held, hand in hand.